Where do you want Techbound to be, let's say in the next 5 years?
Easy. 5 years already is to have a foothold in the legal space. Mm-hmm. So then we have law firms, law enforcement, and I always joke with my team, now we need the judges. But we have law enforcement and legal, right?
And so then we'll rule the world.
Yeah, and then we have you don't can mess with me now. One book really good that actually made me to be able to recover $10,000 was Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Also, Stoic Philosophy. One of our main fears to lose a client because it's very difficult to get one. Don't worry about the things that are not under your control.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next episode of My First Million from MSP Success Podcast. Allison Felber here, VP at Kaseya and MSP Success. I have got my friend Oscar Diaz from Techbound Technologies on with me today to talk about his first million and what got him there. We talked for a couple minutes before we hit the record, some of the stumbling blocks too that he maybe fell over, the sideways, routes he might have taken in order to get to his first million, so that you can learn from them and maybe not make those same mistakes. But he's got a really interesting story, and so it's going to be a really great podcast for you guys. So Oscar, if you want to give our listeners a quick little intro of you, who you are, your company, kind of how long you've been around, if you have any specializations or verticals, and let them get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, first of all, thank you for having me on and have this opportunity to share a little bit about my story. So I'm originally from Venezuela. I moved to Calgary, to Canada, in 2011, and my background is in enterprise information technology. So I used to work in a big telecommunication company back in Venezuela, and I worked there for 10 years, and that's where I created all my know-how and experience in how to approach IT. So I moved to 2011. I started working as a contractor, and then I saw that there was a gap there in the way that IT services were delivered to small businesses, in the sense that they have similar problems as enterprise, but obviously on a smaller scale. But the IT providers at the time, they were approaching more into fix a problem and just move on to the next issue, instead of just sitting down with their clients or with the customers to understand what's going on and what the business problem is and how to help to move on, right, and get better results. And that's the way that it's done in enterprise, just to understand what the business needs are and then take it from there. So I incorporated Techbound around that time, 2011, 2012, and I start providing just regular MSP services, server support, help desk support, on-site support. It was, and probably we did it I did it because it was just me and one other person for a few years. Then in 2017, my partner at the time, he decided to retire. And he decided to move on to other challenges, and then I bought his part. And then 2017 is when actually I started thinking about how to grow Techbound, right? So obviously I didn't have an idea on how to do it. As everybody else in the industry, where I'm really good at IT, technical challenges, but not on how to grow the business. So I crossed my path with TMT in 2019, and just right before COVID, and that's when I start basically working towards growing my company. I hired my marketing manager. We're starting hiring people, and now a few years now here we are around 20 people in Techbound. We're servicing companies and small businesses across Canada, coast to coast to coast. Providing a high quality information technology services, cybersecurity. Now we're digging into AI and other areas as well that our clients are asking us to serve. And we have a small footprint in Latin America, And potentially the next few years, we're going to start going down south and expand to the United States, and hopefully we'll do it in the next few years. But that's basically what we do so far. We specialize, and we specialize with First Nations police services, law enforcement organization. So we chose that niche years ago, and it took us a while It sounds short, but it took us several years to actually get to a point where we are well known in the community. But anyway, so we specialize on that in cybersecurity, and now we're working to focus more in other industries like law firms. But also we have clients in different industries, so that we serve in manufacturing, consulting, you name it. So yeah, that's basically pretty much just
yeah. So it's 6-7 years, going from just two of you to more than 20 and international now as well, down, in Latin America. That's crazy. That's insane. I've got a question. So what prompted the move from Venezuela to Canada?
Well, so it was, I mean, to be transparent with you, it was the two things. One, I would say three things. I always wanted to live abroad. Believe it or not, since I was 15 years old, I wanted to move to Canada with at the time, my girlfriend. She's my wife. But even we tried to move here by studying here in Canada, but we couldn't do it. And that was always in my mind. Then the second thing that happened is the political unrest situation in Venezuela. When I left, it wasn't as bad, but you can start seeing how everything was deteriorating. And then at the time, I had my two daughters. They were, I think, they're gonna kill me, but I think they were 9 and 7, or 9 or 8 and 6.
Yeah.
So and then my thought was, okay, eventually they're gonna become teenagers. They wanted to do their own things, go outside, go to a mall, that kind of things that teenagers do. And then they will start growing as well, right? And they want to also get their own life. And my thought was, well, Venezuela wasn't a right place for that. So then my sister-in-law moved here, and that's when my wife, at the end, she decided to, okay, now we can move. Okay, perfect. Now we have the green light to move.
And what was it like, those first early years, of your MSP being, at that point, in a newer country, a new life, bringing your kids, starting this business? Like, what was it like those first couple years?
They were challenging, interested, because, well, just as an immigrant, so when you move to another place, another country, at least in our case, we didn't move with a lot of money. We don't have that many resources, so then was a priority for us to get something going. And at the time when I moved to Canada, I don't know if it's still in place or not, but there was something called Federal Skilled Worker Program, where Canada was looking for particular people with particular set of skills in order to giving a permanent residency in the country. So at that time was IT management.
Okay.
So I applied, I got my visa anyway, but I couldn't be a manager in a country that I had never do anything. So I had to go back to zero to basically be a technician. So I was able to get contracts and get the thing going. And it was challenging at the beginning, but then I started basically getting traction. And then because I was doing a good job, then I started getting referrals, and then I hired my first person. And then from there, we was basically then looking for an accountant, looking for a bookkeeper, looking for banking. So yeah. it was challenging because of it, right? Because everything was new to me. Techbound, believe it or not, is my first endeavor. So as a business owner, back in Venezuela, I was just an employee in a big corporation. So it was everything new. It was challenging, and it has been a steep learning curve that I've been still learning on all this. But long story short, was very challenging not just because of the technical portion and language barrier, but also everything that comes with managing a business.
Yeah, that's a lot. like new country. Yeah. The language, starting a new business. I mean, a business in and of itself is, challenging enough. And then you layer on all those different things and your family being somewhere new as well. I can imagine it was probably pretty stressful at points.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, and yeah, it is a completely new thing but I mean, it's rewarding at the end once you start working, you say, okay, why I didn't do this before, right? Why it took so long for me to make this decision. So.
Yeah. So my first million, about how long did it take you to get to that $1 million revenue mark?
Once we started doing seriously, 2018, 2019 probably took us a year. So by 2020, we were in the $1 million mark.
A year, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you feel like really helped you get over that $1 million mark or get to it?
Let me think for a moment. So it's not just one thing. There are a few things that I can say. One is that, well, for starters, we start putting attention to marketing, right? To marketing the company, to marketing the service, to start find ways to get leads beyond just asking for referrals, because ones don't do it for whatever reason. So we don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess we are not wired to ask for referrals. That was marketing for sure. The other thing was just to start working on having good relationship with our vendors, our suppliers, because that's very, very important to have a really, really good relationship with your key partners in order to get better pricing and get other type of supports, and also keep an eye on everything that has to do with costs. Believe it or not, bank fees and taxes, right? So if you keeping everything on that online, so then I'll help you to get to that point as quickly as possible. And something as a business owner as well that is very, very difficult, at least for me. I don't know, everybody is someone else in the same camp, but it's start working to delegate tasks, because you cannot do everything. So. And that's when I hired my marketing manager, that she's still working with me and dealing with me, because it's not easy. But just delegating is very important, because once you start delegating certain things, then you can start focusing on the business and start working towards creating those partnerships, alliances, and find opportunities. Have time to talk to your current clients, and learn from what they have to say about your services to see how you can grow, and also to listen what they say. Because I do remember that one client that I was speaking with, that he told me IT is okay, everything is okay, I don't have any complaint about IT, meaning servers, network, help desk, that's fine. Where I have problem with, that's what he told me, is in this X, Y, and Z business problems. So then I said, I have an opportunity there. I'm going to help him to fix those business problems. So, but the only way to do that, to have that chance to listen to your clients, you need to delegate and make the time for you to be able to get to that point.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you're alone in that. That we've been doing this podcast for a while, and, it always comes up, of getting to that point to where it's like, you're not going to be able to grow unless you start delegating, unless you start hiring, unless you start cross-training. And so usually, after that, one of my questions is, okay, so what was your first hire? And you mentioned it was a marketing person. Is that what you said?
Well, no, my first hire was another tech person. And probably the third person that I hired, the second person that I hired was my marketing manager.
Okay.
It took me a while to convince her, because I had her to quit her job and say, "Come on, please." I think I had to beg and ask her to come over with me. So that would be my.
Still there.
She's still here. Yeah, she's still enduring this. Yeah.
But that's really smart. I ask people a lot of times, what's something, if you go back and change, what would you do differently? And a lot of the people say, I would have hired a marketing person earlier. I should have hired a marketing person sooner and delegated that and had someone focused on it. And so to have that knowledge and insight early on for you to invest in a marketing person so soon, I'm sure contributed to your rapid growth.
Yeah, and believe it or not, when I'm speaking with new vendors, for example, so because we're now focusing on trying to build that knowledge in the legal space, we're getting in touch with software providers or software vendors in the legal space. And at some point, you have the conversation to see how we can help, how we can work to implement their software. Speaking technical part. And then at some point in the conversation, just like, let's just ask, just in case, they say, do you have a marketing team? Yeah, I do. That we put a lot of effort in our marketing. And the guy say, oh, sure. That's not common in an IT company, that there is a marketing company, that you have a marketing department. But that's something that I put a lot of effort, and my team put a lot of effort to make sure that we're doing everything that we can in the marketing space, and also that we have return, because the way the things that we do in terms of marketing, we try a lot of things, and a lot of them don't work, and then we need to know where to stop. Mm-hmm. And when to stop it, otherwise we're just draining resources and how to basically try something different. So, but at the end, you need to put some money there in order to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, marketing, everything's a test, right?
Yeah.
So, speaking of what works and what doesn't work for you, in your space, in your location, in your vertical for what you do, has there been, one or two marketing things that have really been stellar and helped you grow? Yeah,
so one of them is with the just showing up. That's one of the things. That's important, because my first, and then let me just, basically this is what I mean by that. So is that we took really, really serious to focus on one particular niche, right? So, and the reason that we focus on that niche is because our first client in the niche, they gave us the opportunity to work with them. Someone has to give you an opportunity, and I asked them, okay, so why you decided to go with us? And he said, because you were the only one who actually came. I was the only one. Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Okay. Thanks, I think.
Yeah, that was the only reason. So, and then I start proving that yes, we're able to take on with the challenge, because there are very specific things related to that to this particular industry, which is law enforcement, that not everybody knows. And then after that, I started doing something that we as a technicians or technology people don't like, which is just basically putting yourself in front of people.
Yeah.
Going to the events, speak on the events, mingle with people. I don't like that. It's not natural to me, but I have to do it. And then I had to get out of my comfort zone. So essentially, it's just showing up to the events, going to the events, speaking on the events. That's very, very important. That's what's actually helped us to get the word out, to get people to know us, to get people to trust us as well, because this is a trusting business. Mm-hmm. That for sure has worked. It's not easy. Doesn't happen overnight. It took us a year to get to the point where we at. But we finally is working for us. The other thing that is working for us as well, believe it or not, is Google reviews.
Okay.
And our web page, where my marketing manager and her team, they're really working really hard with the SEO. Mm-hmm. And we got really good. When they start doing that, we start getting really good leads. I mean, it's more transactional. We probably have got a few clients, like MRR clients from there. But it's more transactional, but it still help. So we have sold. I think last year we sold like $50,000 just for a few leads that came through the website.
Yeah.
And people find us. They find us because of the SEO and the Google reviews.
Yeah, Google reviews are so important when it comes to SEO today. And so the more you can do to fuel those and get those and constantly be adding them, I mean, it's just massive So kudos to your team for that.
Yeah.
And, sometimes, the people who are searching, immediately for, IT support, it is because they have an urgent problem. It's not usually like, oh, I'm shopping for a new vendor that I'm going to spend money with every single month. It is more of like a break fix immediate project, but those can turn into, the relationship starter for a more long-term relationship, even if it's when their contract renews a year from now, 2 years from now, like they'll remember, who helped them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So is there we talked about stumbling blocks at the very beginning. Is there somewhere where you stumbled or a mistake that you made that really taught you the most at the beginning?
Yeah, there is one, but it's difficult to implement. And which is this: at the very beginning, when you're starting all the business, so you don't have any revenue, you need to try to get everything your way. Anything that basically has a heartbeat, okay, I'll do it. And probably it's okay at the beginning, right? But then you have to realize when to say no. So because otherwise you're not gonna get the quality clients that you need. So we at the very beginning we decided to work in a particular industry because out of need, because we needed revenue. But it was really hard to work with them because of the culture of the industry. It's not the same as the ones that we're used to deal with. They don't like to invest in technology. But I mean, and the fact is that particular industry, they only make like probably 10 cents in the dollar. So they don't make much money. And therefore they are very
not much left over.
That's right. So and then technology is not the thought, but we had to do it. And we had to suffer for years with that. And then when we learned, we get to a point we have to fire those clients and those industry. And we made the intentional decision to not work on that particular niche. Even today, we receive calls from companies in that niche, and we tell them no. Even if we want to get clients, we say no. We are not going to work with you guys because I know for sure how difficult the situation could become. So I think that that thing that I learned over the years is just to say no, because it's not saying no to the opportunity. It's just saying yes to the time that you are not losing to those clients that are not a good fit for your company.
Yeah. So now you said you're kind of starting to focus a little bit more on legal. Why that choice in that niche?
It's the same thing with law enforcement. So, and in terms of what I have seen so far, okay, is with the MSPs servicing those that particular niche, they focus only on IT, licensing, fixing a server, fixing a printer, that kind of thing. That's not important for the legal firm. I mean, it is, but it's not key. What is key is to help them to get the most out of the legal software. That's one thing, which is very expensive. The second thing is how we can help them to be better in terms of getting improvement, efficiencies, right? And how we help them, especially nowadays that everybody's talking about AI, and legal is one of those targets right now where a lot of things can be automated, is how they navigate that in a way that actually makes sense and is secure. So, and that's the opportunity that we're seeing there. So we're still developing the skills to get to the point where we say that the same level that we are with law enforcement, and to focus. Yes, we do the regular IT that everybody does, but we do all these kind of things additional on top of it that actually brings value to the firm.
Yeah, you mentioned AI for law firms. What are some ways that you're seeing opportunity for law firms to utilize AI to make them more efficient, enable them to do more with less, work faster, whatever it may be, bill more time?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a little bit contrarian with that, because for me, the way I see it, and I hope I don't get in trouble, but the way I see it is that for me, AI is another tool. So in enterprise IT, information technology, the way that we approach to a problem, okay, let's just sit down with the client, understand what their problem is, because usually it's a business problem. They're trying to get efficiency or try to sell more or try to provide a better customer service, something around those lines, right? It's not technology related, it's just business problem. So let's sit down, let's understand what the problem is, what the outcome is that you want, is desired, how we're going to measure the success of that. And once we understand all that, then we're looking to see if AI could be a good tool to fix that particular problem. And that's the way we see it. Yeah, you have ChatGPT, you have Gemini, Copilot, you name it. Even there are specific for legal firms. So obviously, the easiest one that seems to be the one that can be applied to legal is the research. What the paralegals do, looking for reference, looking for previous cases. That's basically what they can do. Also to summarize a document, but still, the way that we when we talk to our clients about that is that okay, don't go crazy implement any, let's say, Copilot, because when to implement Copilot in the right way, you need to implement data loss prevention. And then because we have to make sure the Copilot doesn't show to an assistant what the payroll is, right? Yeah. And also we need to determine the risk. So how we're going to mitigate the risk of prompt injection. So we went to DEFCON last year. That's a big cybersecurity conference in Vegas. And there was a few researchers there that show us how they were able to control a house by sending a calendar invite to a Google account that is using Gemini. Through a Google account. Yeah, they control a house. They were able to take over the house. So it was crazy. Everybody was saying, wow. Okay, so, and that's what I say, is that we have to be careful. We cannot just use AI for the sake of using AI. Mm-hmm. So, but long story short, that's the way that we approach it, to understand what the actual problem is, and once we understand it, see if AI is going to be a good tool for it. But the obvious cases in legal is just research, looking precedents, summarizing documents, that kind of thing. But always there had to be someone in the loop, an actual human, to confirm that the information that you're getting of AI makes sense. Yeah,
absolutely. I know there was, I think, a couple months ago or something, a case in the U.S. where, it made it all the way to the Supreme Court, and it was referencing, a previous case that had never even existed. Because they had used AI to write the brief. It was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is so crazy and makes things up so easily. So yeah.
Yeah,
but
well, I think the legal industry.
Yeah, I think for legalists, probably it's going to be a little bit easier, because the narrower the domain where the AI is applied, the better.
Yep.
It's not that general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I worked at a MSP, our focus was law firms. We had a couple outside clients, but it was almost exclusively law firms. And they're a fun group to work with. Once you get in, it's a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, it is indeed. Yes.
Yeah. So has there been one book or one podcast or one course or, some sort of outside educational resource that has really been super impactful in your growth?
Yeah, there are actually several of them. One book really good that actually made me to be able to recover $10,000 was Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Yeah, yes. It's really good. I always read it. I read it, I don't know, a few times, several times actually. That's really good. Also, I read and I have read, and I read every time that I can, is Stoic Philosophy, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Zeno, those guys. Because, I mean, for us in the MSP world, I will speak with the MSP, one of our main focus is to get clients one of our main fears to lose a client because it's very difficult to get one. So, and then if you focus on losing a client, you're going to you will never have a good night's sleep. So then it's important to, for me at least, is to learn from those guys that basically one of the things they teach is, don't worry about the things that are not under your control. So it is what it is.
Yep.
Another thing, so yeah. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, one of the things is why? So people who live in the past, I think there's a way that it goes. The people who live in the past have depression. People who live in the future has anxiety. So you have to live in the present.
Yeah.
So, and that's the way that you be able to move on, but otherwise, or to function. And you have to live in the present, enjoy the present, and think of the present, all the things that you have. So that has been very important as well. And I read a lot about. There are really good books from. His name is. Oh shoot, I don't remember his name right now. But it's the writer of the love of human nature, the love of power. No, the laws of power. And they're mastering. So they have several books like that. So basically, it goes to the human nature and how people work and deal. So it's important because then once you're speaking with someone and trying to sell something, you know why people do the way behave the way they behave. One of the things that I remember about it is about those. I don't remember the books. Jesus. But anyway, one of the things is that...
We'll put it in the show notes. We'll put it in the show notes.
Is that never overshadow your boss. So try to help your boss, but never try to be on top of your boss. It cannot be your client or your contacting your client, because then you're going to get in trouble. So that's those type of things. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Yeah. I had a mentor one time going back to, thinking about the future and the past and all of that. I had a mentor one time say, Allison, keep your head where your feet are. I always remember that one. I'm like, oh yeah, I keep my head where my feet are. So, lots of great pieces of advice, in those things. My final question is kind of a two-part question. What's some of the best advice, that you've gotten? And then conversely, what's a terrible piece of advice that you got?
Yeah, so the best advice that I ever got was from my mentor, and believe it or not, the worst one was from someone in the government here in Canada, or part of one of those organizations that belong to the government. So the best advice was make sure to have a good bookkeeper, a good accountant, and a good lawyer. I learned the hard way why. That cost me around probably $250,000 not following that. And the interesting thing about that, when I went back to my mentor and I told him what happened, and he just basically smiled like, told you so. That was the best piece of advice. So if I were going to start over again, I will make sure that I have a good bookkeeper, a good lawyer, and a good accountant. For sure. Okay. It's going to be expensive at the beginning, but it's going to save a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah.
A bad advice, I didn't follow that advice, but it was really bad. There was at some point, one of the pains that you have when you're growing is that when you start outgrowing your bank. Because at some point, I don't know, if you have a monthly expenditure of $15,000 and all of a sudden jump to $10,000 or $500,000, they panic.
Yeah.
Right? And they basically cut everything and say, what's going on here? Right? So we went through that's crunch time with banks with cash flow. And then I approached to an organization that exists here in Canada that is designed to help small businesses. And I went there, and basically what they were willing to do was just to loan money. I don't know, just to give you an idea, to give you $1 million and a fixed term with a very high interest rate.
Oh gosh. Okay.
It's like, why? And then the guys told me, you have to get used to debt or be comfortable to have debt. No. That's a really bad advice. No,
I will never be comfortable with that.
No. So, I mean, if you're going to have debt, it's because something that makes sense, not because you have to be comfortable. No, that's, I think that was a terrible advice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good advice and bad advice. You gotta be able to weed through it, right? So, now we're thinking about the future, not in an anxious way, but, just business planning. Where do you see Techbound going? Where do you want Techbound to be, let's say in the next 5 years?
Easy. 5 years already is to improve our footprint in Canada. So we're already providing services across the country. But we need to have probably a stronger presence in the Canadian market across the country. That's very important. And also to have our a foothold in the legal space. Mm-hmm. So then we have law firms, law enforcement, and I always joke with my team, now we need the judges. But we have law enforcement and legal, right?
And then we'll rule the world.
Yeah, and then we have you can't mess with me now. So, but to have that very, very strong presence in the legal firm the next 5 years. So, and also is to, I don't know if it's going to be in 5 years or less or more, but start looking into how we expand the operation south. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's a natural progression for Techbound, for the company to grow in the United States. So we have started doing Latin America, little by little. It's a completely different market. It's a completely different animal. They work completely different. That's here in North America. But that would be the next step for us.
Yeah. Well, seeing how much you grew, just from when you started really investing in the business in 2019 until now, I have no doubt that in 5 years you will rule the world.
But funny enough, I'm gonna tell this story that happened in 2019. I pretty much, to be honest, I was just giving up on the thing and grow the company. And it was a weekend, and I was sitting on my couch, and I saw one of the very, very old Robin Robbins video, explaining how to grow the company, whatever. Then I saw that. I called TMT. I spoke with Aaron, and I told Aaron, this sounds kind of I'm not 100% sure about. Anyway, so we get along with that, and then I went to my wife and say, hey, you remember the floor that you wanted? Yes. What about if we do this? And then she said, yeah, let's do it. Let's give it a try. Okay, perfect. Believe it or not, before that, I remember I paid $20,000 US, which is for Canada is like a $100,000. No, that's not that much, but it's like a 20,000. It's way more, right? Yeah, but that's first time ever that I put so much money in marketing. That was in 2019. But the funny thing is that I had to go to my wife and say, convince her first to just go through this, and she was okay at the time, so she was good with it. Supportive way. Yeah, she was supportive. Yeah.
Well, Oscar, thank you so much for your time today. Such fun and interesting stories. Great pieces of advice for someone at any stage in their business, whether they're chasing that $1 million mark or they've already made it across. I just really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really love the conversation.
Yeah. And, for the listeners out there, we're always coming out with more episodes. So, stay tuned for another episode of My First Million. But Oscar, thank you for sharing with us about your first million and your journey to get there today.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you.